Hey everybody, welcome back. Doing some more Communist Canada. Where we last left off, there was, again, much more watching, but we've finally gotten rid of our manpower crisis we've had for so long because of the people in Quebec. War economy, limited exports, extensive conscription, yeah, and we might need to go to service by requirement at some point. Right now, we're mostly just mass recruiting. We're trying to make heavy tanks because it's funny. Even though we're probably not going to get a whole lot of usage. We're having import issues because we have very few factories and we're trying to build more civilian factories right now. National unity is great, so we've got that going for us. Our industrial base is not great. We have a plan where if we attack the United States, we're just going to immediately rush Boston. But as it stands right now, they have... It's like 250 to 300 divisions, and we're at 77, and some of those are just cavalry, although I'm sure they have some cavalry as well. We'd get annihilated in a war with them right now. They're at war with Japan now, right? I think they're finally at war with Japan. Canadian war on German, right? Yeah. Because if we go to this stuff... Yeah, they finally went to war with Japan, so our next national focus is defense scheme, because you guys wanted us to make our own faction, so we've been working on that. We're gonna get the national focus soon that'll allow us to make it that, and we've been supporting communism in Brazil. Hopefully we're gonna get them to flip. Now, recently the game was patched so that when you make another country start an uprising, they'll already like you. Now, that doesn't seem to properly apply to save files from before that patch. They update them, but it doesn't seem to properly update, so I don't know if that'll work. I also don't know if that's only if you support a rebellion, or if it's also if you just get their government to flip through, like, public support, which is what we're doing. Why Romanian troops? Yeah, we have random Romanian soldiers in the middle of our country. They wanted to send volunteers to us a long time ago, and, I mean, there's no reason to say no. I appreciate the extra defense. We're in a war with the Axis. It's just they've never shown up, and we have no intention of attacking them. Okay, so let's take a second here and remember our tech. We don't have many things under support companies, which is a shame. I'd really like field hospitals and logistics, although logistics is low on our priorities right now. Because North America has pretty good infrastructure for the most part. I'm not really concerned about running out. God, we're already 1942. We're already researching the Churchill, so we don't need to go into light tanks. We're not really going to get much out of that. We already have heavy fighters. Okay. Just reminding myself of everywhere that I am. I could start going into this. I don't need that. I actually wouldn't mind the air superiority bonus. Not that our planes are amazing. I mean, technology-wise, it's pretty good. You know, we need more encryption. Actually, we could get more research speed out of atomic research pretty quickly. Let's get that going now, because I wouldn't mind having nukes at some point, so let's start laying the groundwork for that. The Bar of Man shall rise. Is that what we're going to call the faction? I was thinking we're just going to call the faction Cult of Manbar. Right, we're importing from Cuba, chromium from Cuba, because we have so few places to get it from. And we basically can't import resources right now without turning off our ability to build. Because our factories, we have so few. It's really abysmal. Why do we have convoys at the top of our production line again? Oh yeah, so it always has the materials, that's right. Because we do need convoys for some of our imports. Oh, man. I thought it was Super Turkey Fucker 64. Oh, shit. Were we going to call it that? Because that is also really good. Ooh, might have to go Super Turkey Fucker 64 as our faction name. Maybe we can get Brazil to join us, even though the Comintern is clearly the most powerful communist faction. If you're wondering about the spastic zooms, by the way, when you have the game on full speed and a lot is going on, it overzooms. Cancel on Lend-Lease. I don't care. A bunch of countries are giving us really shitty Lend-Leases that I really don't care about. The Axis are basically dead. Italy's getting carved up right now from both sides. Germany, I believe, already capitulated. We got a little bit of them there. Basically, Germany has lost. It looks like it's going to be a war between the communists and the Allies at this point. And we're not part of the Comintern. Imperial oil. I don't even remember exactly what we got out of that, because I hate that now it doesn't tell you You can't go back to an... Oh, no! They fixed it? You can't go back to an old thing and it tells you? Nope. Currently has no effect. Okay. It tells you on some and not on others. If it gave you an effect, it doesn't tell you anymore. I think it was just it added oil to some land I own, which is valuable. If I have more than 50 factories, I can get another research slot, which I'd like. I mean, the sooner you can get it, the better. Which sucks I didn't get it early, but you need 50 factories and I have 42. So I just need to go into defense scheme number 2. So what is this? 3 land forts in southern Ontario, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and 3 coastal forts in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Quebec. Oh, as well as 11 others and 6 others. Is this just I'm trying to build a wall between myself and the States? In case of war between the Pacific with the United States and Japan, ideally we stay neutral in the cause of war, but no matter the circumstances, a strong defense on the West Coast will be established. Okay, so we're trying to build up the West Coast naval defenses. Alright, that's one of the steps towards making our own faction, so we're getting that done. I think we need to pull for the name of the thing, faction, or we could name the Thing from the Fantastic Four, or the Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing. Sure, I don't really care. Not that we even have convoys. How many are we building a month? 1.5 a month, no wonder. That is brutally slow on the convoy production. And we're importing a lot from the States right now. A lot of steel, because we need that for so much of our stuff. Italy capitulated! The Axis is pretty much over at this point. I think Japan's in the Axis, though. Okay, so this war is going to last much longer. The AI is always very slow to take out Japan. So that war is not ending anytime soon. I'm just going to let them do their thing. And I'll strike whenever the iron's hot. I'd really like to get Mexico on my side so I can force the United States into a 2-front war. They're being guaranteed by the States, though. I don't need... Okay, yeah, that's fine. Do I really need political power at all at this point? I basically have everything I want. None of this is standing out. Same ideology, monthly opinion. That's not going to be a problem. There's so few communists. I can max out my national unity, but that's only good on the defensive. Nuclear reactor construction speed might be good in the future, but I don't really give a shit about it right now. Political power growth takes so long to get a return on investment in that. Air superiority, armor, commando. It's not that these are bad, it's that I don't really need them right now. I could afford to be getting less... Yeah, I could afford to be getting less, right now. Now, they're gaining democratic support. I would need to stage a coup, but they don't have the communist base to actually do that. Okay, so here's the thing. If I were to build up communism in the United States at this point, I don't think they're actually going to flip to communism. Because their democratic support is already getting very strong, they're likely going to flip that way. And although democratic support is rising in Brazil, I've got communist support much stronger in it. What do you suggest to boost your soft attack? Oh, artillery. Artillery is very powerful in terms of price for performance on soft attack. I highly recommend it. God. I want Mexico on my side, because they're not a weak country. They have very poor production, but they have a good population, and simply having a 2-front war with the United States would really fuck them up, because they can't throw everything they have at me. Invade the Soviets. I can't think of a faster way to get myself killed than declare war on them as well. I kind of want to just boost Communist Party support. Let's do it. We'll do it and we'll see how far we get with that. So we are using up part of our political power gain by boosting political support in these other countries. Take Alaska, then invade the Soviets. Oh yeah, I want to be at war with the Allies, the Comintern, and the Axis. All 3 of the factions right now. Poland didn't start its own faction, did it? Oh, Poland capitulated. It doesn't even matter. They're completely owned by the Soviets. Invade Canada. They'll never see... Yeah, if I invade myself, they won't see it coming. Okay. Soviet Union is not at war with the Allies right now. They're only at war with the Axis. Soviet Union's asked me to join their alliance again. I'm going to say no, because as good as it would be for my own protection, chat voted for me to make my own faction. Declare war with Romania? How's Romania doing right now? King Michael's coup. They're actually quite powerful. Their industrial base is pathetic. I have another save file where I've conquered most of the world with Romania. I've already taken out the Soviet Union. I capitulated almost the entire thing, took almost all of its land. I believe I already took out the Axis. It's just me versus the Allies at that point. Still unaligned as well. Going for an achievement. The United States has surprisingly few troops on my border. I don't think they think I'm actually gonna... they have a lot in, like, the Midwest. I don't think they actually think I'm gonna declare war on them. That's the thing. Also, I need a little bit up here and over here. Why do they have Newfoundland? I don't know when they got that. Weird. That should be part of the United Kingdom. Because Newfoundland and Labrador would be part of the UK. But I'm gonna have someone take over that, mostly because I don't want people just taking the ports and landing in there easily. So I'll need someone taking care of it. Oh, my imports are really bad right now because I don't have any, convoys. I need convoys so I can actually get this trade done. I think Mao has already capitulated. Yep. All of China has capitulated, including People's Republic of China. So it's all gone. All that's left there are some Japanese fascist puppet states like Reorganized Nationalist China. Message from New Zealand. I don't give a shit. Japan is actually kicking some ass, but they're going to get pushed back now. They're fighting the Soviets here. I'm sure that the Allies are all starting to push back through the British Raj. Yeah, they've got too much on them. No way that they're going to make it through that. And I got those sweet Romanian troops backing me up. That's actually not a bad division. They probably... I mean, judging by that, if I'm reading this correctly, I believe 7 infantry and 2 artillery would be a combat width of 20, which is ideally what you want. 20 is kind of the happy number. Oh, I suddenly have a bunch of convoys. Did I not have those a second ago? I'm pretty sure I didn't have those a second ago. Okay. Maybe I'm blind and was looking at the wrong number because I'm stupid. Entirely possible. That is never going to get done. My god. Do I have a thing not over there that should be over there? Sorry, my second monitor's slightly messed up. There we go. I don't know how that got messed up. There we go. Excavation, which we desperately need. Streamline. Yeah, we need to make our industry less shit. Excavation makes it so that we get a higher percentage of the natural resources in our country. It's not a huge difference when you have very few natural resources like us, but we're trying everything we can to not have to spend more civilian factories. Defense scheme is done. This will give us the ability to create a faction. There we go, we're working on it. If we go into this menu, I want to see my fort, so... Coup in Romania? Oh yeah, Romania finally got rid of their shitty leader. So we can see that, yeah, we have some land forts in there and along here. Come on, game. Yeah, we got land forts all along the American border now. The entire American border has land forts. And we have some coastal forts on the west coast. Any on the east coast? We have coastal forts up in here. Okay. Wow. That's actually a pretty powerful, national focus. you get 3 land forts and 3 coastal forts on literally every single point they could invade from. That's a really strong national focus. It's a shame it's such a bitch to get it. The requirements for it were pretty difficult, and you're giving up getting bonuses with the Soviet Union, who's a mega power. Alright, we have the Churchill tank research. I want to go straight on to the Black Prince LP. Yeah. No reason not to. The production cost is not really that much higher. And it's just got more soft attack, breakthrough. It's just better in a lot of ways. Let's do it. Alright, we're switching our heavy tank. Our Vickers out to a Churchill, and very soon after, we'll switch it out again. We do not have the resources for these things, though. We're probably going to make, like, 6 tanks before we switch over to the new one. If you have lower manpower, can be good to use both. 7 infantry and 2 artillery, with another 4 infantry, 4 artillery. Yeah, that is true. We don't have so much of a manpower issue anymore. We obviously have less manpower than the United States is going to have, because we have, like, 1/10 of their population. But they are still... I think they have their own negative traits. I don't think they're even out of the Great Depression. War bonds, Liberty ships. Do they still have Great Depression? They have a lot of abilities. The United States is quite powerful. New Deal. Oh, they have gotten rid of the Great Depression. Okay. The United States is officially really dangerous then, because they're out of the Great Depression. Where's the Twin Cities in Minnesota, the true seat of U.S. power? I don't know if they have any city considered major in Minnesota. They do not. Because you can see, at this level of zoomed out, you can see the key locations. So we got, like, Chicago, we have Detroit apparently counts, we have Boston up there, we have New York, Pennsylvania, we have Washington, of course, is their capital, so it's worth the most victory points. And then nothing in the whole South? Really? Nothing in Texas, even? No, nothing in Texas. Nationalist Spain has capitulated. God, the Axis are fucked. In California, yeah. We have Los Angeles. We got San Francisco. They count. Apparently that's every major city in all of the United States. At this point in time. I would have thought that Texas, I don't know, Houston or Austin, I don't know. Detroit at the time would have been considered... Oh, right, it's before Detroit's crazy depression, isn't it? Isn't this back when the car market was still worth something there? Whew. Neck's feeling a little rough today. Well, now the game is unplayable. Yeah. Alright. What is the Soviet Union working on? Closed city network. That's a science one. 1 extra research slot. Never hurts to get more research slots. I think that would put them at 5. They start with 4. They're going to have 6 in a moment. And they didn't go collectivist. Oh, right, because either way you can get 1 research slot depending on where you go. Yeah, okay. So they're going to get 6 research slots, which I believe is the most any country can get. Random little Soviet Union bit. We got Communist France there. Forgot about that. That's so weird. They're part of the Allies, not the Comintern. That's so weird. Are they going to leave the Allies at some point? They're not even setting a national focus. Oh, now they are. This is before Detroit's crime rate skyrocketed. Ironically, how is that ironic? Alright, that is awesome. More organization for every infantry, as well as for tanks a little bit. Only 1 level left to go. Infiltration in depth. Better reinforcement rate by 2%, which is not amazing, and then better recon by 1, which is not amazing. Honestly, the last upgrade in that tree is not anything that's special. In general, the Grand Battle Plan Doctrine is not the most amazing in the world. I'm definitely superior firepower doctrine kind of guy. You get the most bang for your buck in that. Although mobile warfare is also really good. I've barely done mass assault doctrine, but it's mostly like you need you're using a shitload of manpower, and usually you don't want to go wasting manpower. That's kind of like only Soviet Union does that. Alright, let's get nuclear reactors research going. And we have another 2% increase on all research speed because of that previous text. That's pretty nice. We are working our way towards nukes, everybody. The Ottoman Empire joined the Axis. Why the fuck would you join the Axis? Well, there you go. There's Elderhill's yacht captain. Why would they join the Axis when the Axis are, like, basically conquered? You're just asking to die. Canada United is done. Nice. Yugoslavia claims on Italian border. That does not matter right now. Okay. Support world revolution. What is this? Modify communist ideals. Factory output plus 2%, dockyard output plus 2%. 2% is not much, but I will take anything I can get. Subversive activities cost half as much, which we're using those, because we're trying to gather allies around the world, and can send volunteer forces. We're likely not going to get anything out of that at this point, like the volunteer forces, but I still want that. So I can make my own faction now. I just need to have somebody to make the faction with. Brazil, have you flipped yet? No. God, you gotta flip already. Watching this is taking up 80% to 100% of your CPU. Oh my god. You gotta see something's running in the background. That shouldn't be happening. Maybe you restart your browser? I don't know. But you're automatically gonna like me. Actually, you know what? Here's a test. I'm gonna start carrying favor with Brazil. Get them to like me more. Because I want to see if Brazil, when they flip to communism at some point, are they going to still have their liking of me left over? I don't know, so let's test that here. So we're starting to make them like us. Manpower shortage? It's really not that low. Create faction, we can't yet. Of course, they're not going to join our faction. They have 1,000 reasons not to. For instance, we're in a war that they're not in. Ireland joined the Allies. Usually happens eventually. We already have... Communist popularity is very popular in the country. I don't want to stage a coup because it takes forever. And it's very expensive. Yeah. It'll take over a year to stage a coup. And... knowing our luck, they'll take a really shitty province by default, and we won't be able to back them up in the war. States want military access to our country. I'm going to say no. Fuck you. Why can I not? Okay, I can only guarantee independence on communist nations. What communist nations are there in the world right now? Not many. Democratic Republic of Afghanistan went communist. And they're not in a faction. Create faction. Me and communist Afghanistan. We're creating a faction. All right. We are creating Super Pig Fuckers 64 because Afghanistan's totally into that. And they'll definitely say yes to that. The dawn of Super Pig Fucker 64 just made the newspaper and world news. It's no use! Sorry, I know what you were going for when I read that. Yeah. Okay, sorry, how the fuck did Afghanistan, how the fuck did Afghanistan and why the fuck did Afghanistan go communist? Because I was gonna say, like, did they get puppeted by the Comintern? Because that would explain it, but no. No, they did not. So what the fuck happened? Okay, Paraguay. You want to join? You are not in a faction. I want a non-aggression pact with you right away. I can guarantee their independence too, but if I just run the clock for a second there. Okay, they like us a bit more because of that. I can't invite them to my faction. Why? Oh, because we just did a diplomatic request. That's fine. I will also guarantee their independence. That instantly makes them really like us. And they don't want to join us because they don't want to be in our war. Okay, well, if they end up at a war, they're going to go to us first, probably. Paraguay, Mongolia is already a puppet, aren't they? Yeah, they're in the Comintern. Okay, every communist nation that wasn't in the Comintern I have tried to talk to, which unfortunately is 2 of them. But one of them joined us. What are the fucking chances? Look at them. Why? Why did they go Communist. Was someone making them communist? They're improving relations with Paraguay. So weird. You really butchered Paraguay. Am I not? Isn't it Paraguay? That's always what I've heard it as. Sorry. Yeah. Guess there's nothing I need to do here, really. Pride member Super Pigfucker 64. In fact, if we go to the faction list, there we go. Super Pigfucker 64. Also represented over here. I'm just gonna leave it on that screen a little bit. Can I play as Salvador? Oh, do you mean San Salvador? Which is surprisingly powerful. Puzzling, or sorry, El Salvador. San Salvador is their capital. Look at this. 87 divisions. Why? How? So weird. Well, there you go. We got Super Pigfucker 64 becoming a world superpower, barely. In fact, if I go to major countries, Belgium counts? What? Oh, the major country list got really big. Why does Belgium count? Oh, because they have a lot of Africa, maybe? I don't know. We are now on the list because we own a faction. It's the easiest way to get. Sweden counts? Why? Why does... Oh, wow. I don't know. Just because they have a lot of factories? I don't know. I don't know why the hell Sweden counts. Usually there's very few people are considered major powers. Paraguay is how you've heard it. Oh, I've always heard it as Paraguay. Paraguay? Does anyone know how it's actually pronounced for sure? Because I don't know. You should do a playthrough with the mod that makes each US state its own country. There's a mod for that? That's interesting. But are they, like, in a union? Because, like, the United States is kind of like a bunch of small countries. It's a republic. God, our trade is abysmal. It'd be really nice if, God, I completely lost them on the map there. Sorry, their name is so fucking long it doesn't show up. Look, it's like a paragraph. Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. Fuck me. It'd be nice if they were trading with me, but I don't think they are. I don't know if they need any imports. Just Google it, MDB. I have better things to do, like bring a stream to you. You can fucking Google it, and then you can give me the fanatical. Plays in Louisiana and take over the world. Are you from Louisiana? Is that why you picked Louisiana? Is there toxic warfare in the game? Not really, but there's nuclear warfare, so if you consider that, I mean, radiation, that's toxic, isn't it? I'm not sure what the definition on that would be, but I would assume that radiation poisoning would be considered toxic. But there's not, like, mustard gas, if that's what you're thinking. Like, that kind of warfare, like gas warfare. That's not in the game. Alright, boosting. Brazil has not flipped still. There's a real competition between democracy and communism. But they're still non-aligned, even though it's the least popular party they have. Aside from maybe fascist. They probably have, like, 1% fascist. Yeah, I can't even go on the edge of that one. So communist is not as popular as democratic, but they're still winning out with non-aligned in Mexico. That said, communism is actually on the rise faster than democracy there, because they got a head start with democracy. I guess it's because the passive ability of the states forcing democracy on the rest of America is not as strong as me pouring political points into doing it manually. That's stronger. Especially when you're non-aligned. When you're non-aligned, you get taken over by other ideologies faster. Which American state would be the ulm of America? I don't know. Paraguay is how you pronounce it. Really? Okay. I will take your word for it. Paraguay is on Wikipedia. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Play as Rhode Island, take over the rest of the world. I want to play as the Isle of Man and take over the entire world. There you go. That's a hell of a task. Could probably do that in Crusader Kings too. Bet you'd be a fun playthrough too. You'd have to be real sneaky to get some, to get countries early on as the Isle of Man. I think they might even start off in the earliest start date as a Dominion of Scotland. So you might even need to fight your way from inside. Which I mean, if you fought your way from inside and you became the King of Scotland, and then you declared your main title as the Isle of Man, that would be a good way to get a foothold in the world. Although Scotland at the earliest start date in that game is entirely tribal. I think the Isle of Man is tribal at that point as well, and unfortunately, they're tribal and so is Ireland, but Wales and all the Anglican parts of England are feudal at that point, which is much more profitable. You can't raid as easily, but you have way better income and better infrastructure. Support the World Revolution is done. Which means we're going to be spending... There we go. Yeah, political power change is a lot better now. We're not dumping so much on nothing. I want to hear a funny story about a Civ 5 game with you and your friend? Yes. I love hearing stories of other people playing like Civ 5 and Crusader Kings. There's always fun stories that come out of those games. Okay, a motorized army is probably a really good idea at this point because I'm seriously behind on my support company technology. Yeah, I know you're in Minnesota. You bring that up often. It's almost as if you're proud of Minnesota. What's the population of Minnesota? Because as much as people call it, like, Little Canada, I bet you your population is comparable to all of Canada combined. It wouldn't shock me. Because the Canadian population is like 11 times smaller than the American population. California is more populated than all of Canada. There are cities in the world that I think are more populated than all of Canada. Like, there are a few, like, I think there's, like, Shanghai might be more populated than Canada. Possibly Tokyo. Are you allowed to make a Fura joke? Why wouldn't you be able to make a Fura joke? This is my show. It's not like I'm gonna go ahead and assume you're a real-life Nazi. Yeah, motorized army. We gotta get that. 5.5 million. I think Canada's at like 25 million. Oh, the Quit India movement just started now? Okay. I think we're at like 25 million, something like that. 36 million. It's more than I thought. Just playing normally until we found one of our friends. I love Civ 5 stories. If anyone has any good, like, Civ 5 stories, or Crusader Kings stories, or even European Universalis 4 stories, but I find Crusader Kings stories are usually the funniest. 2016 census is 35 million. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because we have had a lot of immigration, so it makes sense that it would really ramp up. First ever game, learned enough to prove a challenge to the others. I was Germany, my friend Yuki was Japan. Game was normal until the very end. I was at war with France and Yuki and some other team. I think it was Aboriginals or something. It was a total stomp in our favor. Sorry, what Civ game was that again? Because I can tell you what Aboriginal team it would have been. Because if that was Civ 5, then it was either Shoshone, Iroquois, not Iroquois as some people pronounce it, it's Iroquois, Shoshone. I think those were the only two, because the Sioux weren't in that game. They were in Civ 4. I'm sorry, the Sioux were called the Native American Empire, even though the tribe is the Sioux. Ryan says, where do I live? Dry? It's so weird that you call me Dry instead of, like, MDB or Mah-Dry. You live in Turkey. I played CK2 for the first time and decided to fuck myself over so my half-brother could take over because he was so much better than how I started as. Yeah, that's common practice, is if you really, really suck, you try and get yourself killed as fast as possible so you can play as a better heir. As long as you have things secured, you know? Let me tell you a story about me as Queen of Spain, had a grandchild with the Prince of Poland. who's a devil child and was eaten by the King of Poland. Yeah, that's a really Crusader Kings story. I love Crusader Kings stories. That is so Crusader Kings. Oh god, I don't go on Reddit much, but the Crusader Kings Reddit I check constantly, because it's just the wackiest shit, like, my cannibal horse king ate my demon baby, stuff like that, and fucked my wife, like, it's just the weirdest shit in that game. So as a joke, Yuki gave all of his troops to a small city. In literally 3 turns, they took over the Aboriginals. I took over France, and at the time they gave the troops. Small City won over the war instead of all Japan. The game was hit 5. Okay, what color was the Aboriginal country's borders? The Sioux, I believe, are, because, you know, the colors in it, like, the border has its own outline color, and then it has a faded-in color on the inside. I believe their faded-in color is black, and the outside color is, like, a light, like, icy blue, I believe. That's, the Shoshone, and then the, Iroquois, I believe, use earthy tones. I want to say they're, like, browns. Yeah, I think that's how they are. I'm pretty sure they're earth tones. Did you read my story? It might have gone past me. No, I read your story out loud. Yeah, your story is about the CK2 fucked yourself over. Yeah, I read that out loud. So metal that everyone had MDB's white metal cup. I'm confused. I'm very confused. Oh, medieval times, the most metal of times. Yeah, it's right in the name. Steam-limed industry is steam-limed. Gotta steam those limes. There we go. It's really gonna help with the productivity cap. There we go. So we can now cap those at 100%, which is making the most out of our shitty situation. We're trying to really make the most out of our tanks, too, here. That was my story, MDB, not on Handy's. Was it? Sorry, so many people use the same color in the chat. It makes it really hard to see. Steam limes. Just finished 800 TAD through 2 different computers. Thanks, I appreciate it. Man, with how much you've been sending 800? That'd actually make a decent amount. Say Ankara. Well, of course I know Ankara. That's where Fatima's family is from. You live in Ankara? That's awesome. Yeah, Fatima's family's from Ankara. Anyone want a good Svea run? Isn't that fascist Sweden? Because I did a little bit of that in the past on my stream. But that was very, like, that was a long time ago. I was quite terrible at the game back then. Not that I'm doing amazing this run, but I've had multiple World Conquest runs that I'm pretty proud of. Okay, we don't need any tanks for a long time. We have the best heavy tank. Eventually, we're just going to go modern war tank, but that's not for a while. We're going to go into experimental rockets for rocket sites. We're going to start going into nuke technology because I think it's our only real way to be competition at this point. So we're going all in on this nuke tech. We're playing Civ 5 with a bunch of people. One of our friends had named one of his cities Nothing Wrong, and another Hitler did. Great. I do occasionally like conquering people's cities and then naming them something new to, as like an insult to them. You said it like a Turkish guy? Holy shit, I'm shocked. Well, to be fair, like Fatima taught me the name of the place because that's where she said that her family, or her dad's side of the family is from. So I've only ever heard it pronounced by somebody who would have heard it pronounced by an authentic Turkish relative. And she had been there a lot. So, you know, she has the same-ish accent as me. My accent is much thicker than hers, in terms of, like, steeped from, like, the countryside that I'm from. But I would imagine that her pronouncing things like that would be more authentic, and thus, it's the only way I've heard it, so it's how I try and pronounce it. I think it's all about I would imagine it's an enunciation thing. I put the enunciation in the second syllable, Ankara. It raises up to the ka noise. Whereas, I imagine someone who just read on paper would probably say Ankara. Or Ankara, possibly. The wrong A. But I don't speak any Turkish, in case you're wondering. Fatima doesn't even speak much Turkish anymore. It was her first language, but she just started learning Arabic over it at a very young age. You did play more Civ 6? I love Civ 6. It's just, the current patch of Civ 6 has a problem where often tech quotes don't show up, and it's annoying, because it makes you miss changing government a lot. And also, people voted for me to do less Civ 6 for a little while, because I think people were getting sick of it. Is Skill 3 being patched at all, or has it been patched? Oh, it's getting patched frequently. A lot of bug fixes, which is good. It needs bug fixes. Playing modded Civ 5, one of the cities was a heavy weapons guy from TF2. Jesus, that's a weird... Or one of the civs was heavy weapons guy from TF2. That's a fucking weird mod. He went to war with King Vegeta, and I helped. He went to war with me, and he had no troops. It was a total stomp, begged for mercy, which I gave. He went to war with me again as soon as possible. Yeah, the AI in mods never knows what the fuck it's doing. In Star Wars The Old Republic, during my stream of it last Wednesday, the fuck? It's not even a strategy game. Although, Star Wars Old Republic, okay. KOTOR is awesome. I never heard anything good about the what do you call it, the MMO. I remember back when the MMO was coming out and everyone's like, oh, it's gonna kill World of Warcraft, and I was just fucking laughing at people. I'm like, it's not gonna kill World of Warcraft, not even close. You guys don't even understand World of Warcraft. And they call me a fucking idiot. And there's a rule. This needs to be like MDB's law, you know, like Godwin's law and stuff like that. This needs to be MDB's law. The more I get called a fucking idiot over a claim, the more true it's gonna be. Because every time I make an outlandish claim in wrestling, and if people literally call me a fucking idiot, I end up being right. Like, people started saying I was a fucking idiot for saying that Jinder Mahal is getting a push, and 2 months later he was the WWE World Champion. Something that I'm the only guy who saw it coming before he even had #1 contendership. Before he was even announced in a #1 contendership match. I fucking called it, and I'm probably the only guy on Earth who did. I called that everyone's gonna get hyped for Star Wars The Old Republic for like 2 weeks, and then it's gonna massively die off, and it did. Yeah, that needs to be Bread's law. The more I get called, the more Mah-Dry-Bread gets called a fucking idiot over a claim, the more likely it is to be completely 100% accurate. The more I get called an idiot, the more accurate it's gonna end up being. Valentine tank, that's... it's only on light tank models. Because if that was modern tank, I would take it. Not worth it. Rocky Mountain Rangers, I wouldn't mind. Marine technology and airborne technology, I wouldn't mind. Airborne technology plus 75%. That's really quick paratroopers. I could find a use for that. So I get where MDB is coming from. Much older members of my family only speak French or fluent in it. So what little I know how to say is with a French accent. Ends up getting me called fake for trying to imitate the French accent, but that's how I heard French growing up. Yeah. Now, I learned a lot of French growing up, and I remember almost none of it whatsoever. I can't greet somebody in French, despite it being mandatory all the way up to, like, grade 9. And yet, French was something I always got high marks in just because I'm good at presenting. Mah-Dry-Bread. Can you play more instead of talking so much? See, that's the thing. If you want to see more playing, you're probably watching the wrong person, and it's cool. Like, I totally understand if you want to watch someone else. The thing is, the playthrough we're doing here pretty much guarantees that there's going to be almost no playing. Because you guys voted for me to do Canada and Communist Canada, and I told you right off the bat when you guys were voting for that, like, it's not going to be eventful. There's almost nothing you could do unless you participate in World War II. Like, if you want me to go Communist, I'm going to be doing very little for long periods of time, and people still voted on it. So there's not really a whole lot I can do either than run the clock and explain why I'm picking what I'm picking. Like, I'm going air superiority because they're going to outnumber me vastly in the air, and if I'm going to make any use of paratroopers, I'm going to need air superiority. So I'm going to need that. I'm going to have to start building transport planes at some point, which is not going to go over well because my industrial base is so pathetic. Because I went manpower over industry, because Canada can only pick between them. Canada was a lot more powerful, honestly, before the DLC that made them more interesting. But that was mostly because the AI is so bad. Kind of like how it's really not that hard to take the States with Mexico. In early game, at least, before the Great Depression is over. Despite Mexico only having 2 research slots by default, which is terrible. It's mostly easy because the AI is so bad at division planning, especially over such a wide border as the United States, that as long as you're very careful and you take it slow and you go like tile by tile and you get a lot of surrounds and you're cutting people off and you're doing encirclements and you're always making sure you're hitting from 2 directions so they get that penalty. It doesn't matter that you're going to have no air force, you probably have no tanks, you got a tiny bit of motorized just for rushing the occasional city. They're really not that hard to take. The biggest thing you gotta worry about is you'll start to get lazy by a certain point, and you'll forget to check, because Florida here is going to get hit by British invaders a lot, because they will join the Allies at some point during the war. And the Brits are going to make landings in Florida a lot, and if you're not careful, they're going to walk up behind and just take a bunch of stuff that you took. So there you go, there's interesting information. If you want to see more on how to do that, actually, How I Met Algerhill was his playthrough called, I think it's like Make Mexico Great Again. You can go watch his playthrough of it. He shows, like, step-by-step a really great way to conquer the states as Mexico, just fully capitulate them. He's a lot better than me at the game. Yeah. World War II, Germany sided with Turkey. Germany shared even military equipment. And they had shared, let me check. With Turkey. Not Turkey, Germany. I totally misunderstood that. Madrat Stowe. Great nickname, real name combo. I don't even know why that came up. The accent sounds similar. What's that in response to? Has there been good AI for this type of game ever? Kinda. The AI has gotten better over time. It was very terrible originally. God. The Axis just got jackhammered. I can't believe they still have some land in Africa. I think it's only because the Allies don't give a shit about Africa. It's kind of impossible to give a shit about Africa in this game. It's worth so little that is just not worth the enormous amount of time it takes to march through Africa, because the infrastructure is so bad and the land is so vast, it takes forever to move through it. You would need to start building infrastructure there, and you could spend that time building better things that help your country overall, like military factories. The United States is finally putting more troops on the Canadian border. I think they're finally starting to realize we're more of a threat, because we're building up a good number of divisions. We're at 108, they're at 346, but at least we know the exact number. Do they have any groups of a single person out here we can look at? You. So there's infantry type 2. It's not as good as our infantry, but it's definitely scary. I don't exactly want to be fighting that. I'll put it that way. Our navy's not all in the same spot, is it? No, we got a little east, a little west. That's fine. Okay. Navy we can't even worry about right now. Brazil, have you flipped yet? Good lord, when the fuck are you gonna go communist? Alright, run the clock some more. They like us, at least. There's that. Can improve relations more with them, although there's really no reason. North Dakota, most important state. I think North Dakota is one of the least industrialized states. I'm sure, like, fucking Oklahoma. No, Idaho is probably the least industrialized state, right? Where's Idaho, even? I know it's Midwest. Kansas. Oh god, it's so hard to see. You can barely see the borders on them unless I click them. Iowa. Ooh, that's pretty not industrialized, isn't it? Does it have nothing in it? I think it has nothing in it, other than, like, 3 million people. Oh, I don't have enough research to be able to see how many factories are in each state. Okay. I can tell the general infrastructure, though. Yeah, intel is sparse. That's fine. Idaho's far west? Okay. Yeah, I know it's... all I know about it is Napoleon Dynamite and potatoes, which is depressing. North Dakota has 8 cities? Jesus, that's a small amount of cities. To be fair, I've lived my whole life in southern Ontario, which is here. Let me give you a little tour of where I've lived. Okay. So it's going to be really hard to show you here just because it's so scaled down. Okay. I was born in Dunnville, and I honestly don't quite know where to point to for Dunnville. I think it would be about here. The map is so condensed, it's kind of difficult, but Dunnville is about here. Maybe a little bit farther north, just slightly. But about here. Little township. Lived there for my first 10 years. Moved to Burlington, which would be... If that's the curve, I guess Burlington would be like here. Yeah, Burlington would be about here. That's about where in Burlington I lived. It would be right about there. I lived there for 6 or 7 years. Actually, 5 or 6 years. Then I moved to Hamilton, and I moved, like, not far into Hamilton at all. Because I lived on the border of Hamilton, Burlington, on both sides. So when I moved to Hamilton, I was, like, here. So that's where I was in Hamilton for another 6 years or something. Open window so I can land the plane. Illustration in depth. Nice. That's our last thing there. And do I want... See, naval mission efficiency, I do not give a shit about. Strategic bombing, I do not give a shit about. Interceptor detection, it's okay, but it's not worth wasting a year to get to it. So you know what? I'm happy with that doctrine. I wouldn't mind more construction. Hamilton here, then I moved to Toronto for 1 year and 1 week. That's right there. You can see it right there. It's Toronto. I lived in North York in Toronto. That's our most populated city in the whole country. Not our capital, though. Did Canada share equipment with the Allies Germany gave Turkey? Oh, Canada did more than share equipment with the Allies. We fought in the war. We were frontline fighters in World War II. The Royal Canadian Artillery, the infantry, the Air Force, the Navy, we were all in on that war. Am I really going to make use of that? I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to take army training time. So we're going to increase army training time drastically, start really pumping out people. Because my god, we need it. Not that our industry is able to keep up. But we're trying. Let's bump that to full. And upgrades are lower priority at the moment. We need troops on the ground. Okay. Quebec, yeah. Okay, so Toronto, and then I moved from Toronto, New Ottoman, but why did they even join the Axis? Idiots. See, Siphon. See you, Ryan. Hope you're feeling better soon. Then I moved from Toronto to Mississauga. And honestly, I can't even point to that or Oakville on a map. Actually, no, I can point to Oakville. Oakville will be just above Burlington, so I'm feeling like here. And then Mississauga. Ooh, Mississauga might even be like here. I don't even remember. I'm not even sure I'd be able to point to Mississauga on a map. Mississauga is quite populated, though. It's one of our biggest cities. And then up here is Ottawa, and up there is Montreal. Because this is southern Ontario. And then right here is Quebec. And then we have St. Lawrence is part of Quebec, but the St. Lawrence River, it has its own section here. Whereas Winnipeg doesn't exist. The game erroneously claims that Winnipeg is right over here in Manitoba. You can see Winnipeg right there. But again, Winnipeg doesn't actually exist in Manitoba's wasteland. It's all just the great Canadian myth of Winnipeg. How long until we invade the United States? Fucking forever. I don't know why people wanted me to play Communist Canada. Like, really, I don't know. The clock is barely moving at max speed right now. This is on a solid-state hard drive. There's so much fighting and so many troops moving in Japan right now that the game is just chugging along. I'm looking at my CPU usage. It's not bad at all. The game just chugs when you have this many things being calculated at the same time, and this is on a solid-state drive. United Provinces of Canada. Oh, it reminds me of that terrible song they teach the kids to remind them what the names of all the provinces of Canada are, and it doesn't include the territories. Because I guess the territories don't matter except for that's like where a ton of oil comes from. To be fair, most of our oil's from Alberta. What does Winnipeg supposedly look like? Nobody knows. They didn't get that far into the lie of Winnipeg. You can see that Montreal's right there. That's where Hero They Call Me lives, in Montreal. That's why it's so easy to day trip to Montreal from southern Ontario. It's right on the border. They're both along the St. Lawrence River. Do provinces function similar to states in the USA? No, we're fundamentally a very different country. The United States is a republic. Canada is a constitutional monarchy. So it's not like the States where each state has its own like self-governance to quite a large degree. In Canada, state law supersedes everything to a very large degree. We're not a republic, unfortunately. We don't have very much autonomy as provinces. Most things that really matter legally to the average citizen is not going to be municipal or provincial. It's going to be state-wide, which for us would be like country. Different words for same things, very confusing. I'm just trying to get a little bit of the ahead of time bonus done on some research, if you're wondering why I'm just running the clock like that. Nuclear reactor, yeah, we're going to get a nuclear reactor at some point. We'll put it in... Fuck, it's Southern Ontario. It's the place we're going to defend the most. And we also need to queue up a rocket silo down there as well. It's going to be a while before that's done. This is why people should have voted for Communist Cuba. That might have been less eventful. Honestly, we'd be in a war right now if you guys wanted me to join the Comintern, but you told me to make my own faction. And this is why people shouldn't be able to vote. Let's abolish the vote. Communism, everybody. I should be a totalitarian dictatorship. Emphasis on dick. Okay, our rocket engines actually do help. Some artillery, but none of the kinds I use. The main thing is it gets us the rocket inceptor level 1, which I don't believe we have the tech for anyway. But it leads us to jet engines, which we want for, like, really good aircraft. But I believe we need rocket engines to fire actual missiles. I could be wrong. In fact, I think we might need jet engines as well. But we need nuclear bombs, obviously. And I don't think we have any more of these things we can take, any more national focuses that help us towards nukes. Is there anything Air Force-wise? Rocket technology, that would take a long-ass time to get to, though. We do also need a plane that can drop the bomb, though. So you know what? Yeah, we've been behind on this tech long enough. We actually got to start getting it now. Alright. We're going to start going into that. You know what? You can go on the Stuart Kangaroo. No, we need... Oh, okay, yeah, we need field hospitals. Supreme Leader Tim Buck. Yeah, I forgot that's the name of our dictator. We need Rocket Man Bar. I like it. So you have a king? No, we don't have a king. We have a queen. Yeah, same queen as England. The English royal family is also the Canadian royal family. But, of course, they're ceremonial more than anything. As a constitutional monarchy, we are a monarchy, but it's heavily democratic. We elect our prime minister. We elect our major and minor political parties. Like, by all means, in terms of, like, colloquial knowledge of country governments, we're what you would call a democracy. We are democratic. We have democratic elections. The literal government type, though, is a constitutional monarchy, same as England. United Kingdom as a whole, in fact, is a constitutional monarchy, as is most of its dominion. So, you know, Australia and whatnot, New Zealand. I don't believe that that India would count anymore, because I'm fairly sure that, because, you know, us being attached to a royal family is a ceremonial thing more than anything. It really doesn't mean much, other than technically the army is supposed to be loyal to the queen, not the state. The state being, again, in Canada, that's simply in reference to the government. The state means the government, not a section of land. So, like, we have state-owned companies, for instance. Not all of them. We're not like a communist country where it's all state property. But we have crown corporations. Usually we'd call the state the crown. They're a bit interchangeable, but not literally the same thing. But when we talk about the crown, that essentially means government corporation. And the government, I mean, the government basically is a giant company. It's kind of what the function of government is a company for regulating people and law. But that's a very rudimentary description of government, so... So there are no Tates there. States, okay! Yeah, we don't have states, we have provinces and territories. We have almost every section of Canada is a province, except for our 3 territories, which we can see up here, northwest. Oh, well, it didn't even break it into the fucking... Okay, it didn't even break them into territories, but we have, what do we have? We have Yukon, we have Northwest Territories, and we have, Nunavut. Those are the 3 territories, which are all, like, northern landscapes, very small populations living there. Mostly native populations. We're producing our troops in Southern Ontario, right? Yes, good. Just making sure they're actually being produced in a reasonable place. Is this ahead of time bonus done yet? Yeah, it looks like it. Rocket engines. The Discord server is a totally a monarchy. Yes, definitely. Actually, no, I have democratic elections in the server. There was one time when someone was banned erroneously over a simple miscommunication of poor language, but they had broken rules many, many times in the past and probably should have been banned before it. So I left it up to a public vote, and the person was okay with it. So I left it up to a public vote on whether or not they'd be banned or not, because that person said the mods are a bunch of power-hungry cunts, but the community is great. So I said, okay, how do you feel about if I were to make it a vote in the community, and I would have no say in it? I'd go with whatever the vote is. And he said he'd love that. So I put it to a vote. The vast, vast, vast majority of people voted for him to stay banned, and then he fucking vandalized our wiki a bunch and was just a general asshole. He said he loved that idea, the people voted against him, and so he threw a temper tantrum because he's a douchebag. But hey, I went with democracy on it, because as far as I'm concerned, the community Discord is not for me, it's for you guys. And so if our mod decision in a controversial mod thing of where it's like the exact thing he was banned for was a misunderstanding, but he probably should have been banned before, and there's weirdness in that, instead of having us decide it, I decided to leave it to a vote, because the way I looked at it, if you guys had voted for him to be unbanned, we would unban him, and I would rework the rules. Because the rules are supposed to serve you guys. Because you guys are the community. Which means if the rules that I wrote don't match the will of the people who are actually there, that's my problem, not your problem. I'm the one who needs to rework the rules. Not you guys need to follow my rules. Because I made the community for you. So... If you guys had voted for him to stay, I would have drastically rewritten the rules. Because it would show that clearly the rules do not suit the community. So yeah, there's that. Only people only like votes when it agrees with them. Yeah, a lot of people, they whinge way too much about losing votes. It's stupid. You vote and you lose, it's cool. Respect the vote, but nobody does. It's really, really frustrating. Wow, they have a lot of divisions in that one specific spot. What, do they want to take Manitoba to find the fictional land of Winnipeg? Because they're not going to find it. There's not victory points to be found in Winnipeg, just disappointment. They'll go there and find it's actually made of cardboard. Wow, this His civilian factory production is getting pathetic. I'm gonna have to resort to actually bumping that down the list. Oh, look at that. Turns out MDB and the mods aren't dicks. Who'd have seen that coming? Yeah, I know, right? What are you talking about? The guy who decides to read every single comment he's gotten on YouTube over the course of 7 years actually cares what the community thinks. Who could have thunk it? You know, I used to have real problems taking criticism for years. Apparently it's just a thing with my personality type. I spent a very long time trying to get over that, and I actively ask for criticism, no matter how harsh it is nowadays, because I want to hear honest feedback. That's something I had to really work on myself about, and I'm really proud of myself for getting over that whole hurdle, because I really like taking criticism now. And I like to think, I kind of wear that as a badge of honor, because A, that's something that a lot of people don't seem to do. A lot of people are really sensitive about criticism, and B, I think it shows a commitment to my community that I actually give way more of a shit than a lot of people. That I genuinely put that effort into doing something deeply uncomfortable for most people, so that I could do what I believe to be best for the community. Because you guys want the show to be the best it can be, right? Because you watch it. So if I want the community, or if I want the show to be as best as it possibly can be, that requires me to do the best job I can do, and I can't do that without honest feedback. Nobody learns on their own. It's so weird that Afghanistan randomly went communist. Hi, Costa Rica. What are you up to? Being really, really, really democratic? Okay, you're never joining me. Venezuela. Brazil, have you switched yet? No? God, fucking shoot me. You have a bit of criticism, but you forgot what I was saying. Fuck it. God damn it. I hate when people forget. Okay, pet peeve of mine. There have been a few times I've asked on the show, like, give me criticism. And everybody, I get you're being nice, but a bunch of people just say, like, you're too good, or you're such a dick, winky face emoji. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, I appreciate that you're being nice and everything, but I want actual feedback. I don't care if it's rude or if you're worried it's going to sound rude. I don't care if you're afraid that I'm going to like you less for it. I'm not going to like you less for it. I want honest criticism. I don't care how harsh it is. I don't care if the criticism is literally, I haven't watched your show in a year. I'm just on the Discord server because I like the community or something like that. I don't care if that's the criticism. Just fucking say it, because I want to hear it, because I might learn something from it. Criticism, he doesn't upload as often as I want him to, but that is just unreasonable. I could possibly upload more. My worry is that I wouldn't get much of a return on investment on that, in terms of I'd be spending even more time on that, that I could be spending on hanging out with you guys in Discord or stuff like that, or working on Shoddycast videos. And maybe I'm uploading more and more people feel flooded and they can't keep up, and so they tune out completely. It's a hard balance on that of what is too much and what is not enough. And it's also hard because, of course, I'm going to hear back from you guys, and you guys are like less than 1% of the people watching, because you're the hardcores. You're the guys who want to communicate with me. I say guys, but of course, it's part of the slang I grew up with. I'm meaning everybody, because in terms of, like, my channel is like 85% men, but the hardcores, gender split is like 40-60 or something. For 40 women, 60 men. But you know what I mean? Like, the hardcores are going to be so much different in their viewing habits from the vast majority, and the vast majority are never going to tell me their opinions, no matter how many times I ask, because the vast majority just don't comment. Which is frustrating, because I'd love to learn the names of more people who are more casual viewers. There's nothing wrong with being casual. I'm a casual viewer of a billion channels. Algorithm would be blurry if you upload a lot because fucking YouTube... Yeah, algorithms are difficult to follow sometimes. Don't assume we're all male and female. See, now you're... I know what you're doing, though. You're just trying to, like, poke fun at, you know, no matter what I say, somebody, if they wanted to, could take it the wrong way. Look, I accept you whatever you are. I don't care what you are, I care who you are. I don't give a shit if you come up to me and you say that you're a gender that I've literally never heard of in my life. As long as you treat me with respect, I treat you with respect. I don't think they're gonna join me. That's the thing. I can ask them again. I want communist countries. They are still no faction, and they will still not join me. Not even close to joining me. Despite how they like me as much as they can. Because we're in a war that they don't want to be called into. So unless someone declares war on them, they're not going to join me. So not much that can go on there. I understand everyone does different time zones. Not a fan of when you stream at 3 p.m. because I don't get a class until 6. What time zone are you in? Compared to me, at least. Like, how many hours ahead or behind are you from me? Or are you in the same time zone, Ethan? Because I don't remember if you said what state you're from. I just remember that you said once you're in the States. Because, see, here, another thing is, like, if you guys give me feedback, then even if, like, the feedback isn't useful, I can explain, like, my side of it, and we can have a discussion. And, like, you know, like what Wolf just said, he explained, like, he'd like to see more content, but he thinks that's unreasonable. Well, I can explain to you why I don't think that's an unreasonable request. I think that's a completely reasonable request. There are many YouTubers who upload much more. Aroomba uploads every 3 hours. That's 6 hours of recording a day. That's too much for me. I can't physically handle that, but I could handle more. You know, I would have to take time away from other things, and we could discuss, like, is that something I'm willing to do? Is that something the community would like? That opens up a discussion that we can get a lot of opinions, so that's a really useful conversation. And even bouncing ideas back and forth with you guys about these conversations we start about how to improve the show. As we bounce these ideas back and forth, the ideas grow, and we come up with better ideas than either of us had in the first place. And that helps everybody, because if I make the show better, then it's better for everybody watching, and that's what it's for. The show's not for me, it's for you. So, you know. Central Standard US is going on 5 p.m. For me, it's about to hit 6 o'clock, because I'm Eastern. Because I live in Southern Ontario. I live right around here. Right between all the Great Lakes, except for, yeah. You'd enjoy more voted streams? Yeah, we need to meet the $50 tag goal. See, the frustrating thing, we actually hit the $50 tag goal like a few weeks, and then ever since it's like gone down by like $3 a week, to the point that we didn't actually meet the Tuesday week for 2 weeks in a row. And I believe I did them both weeks anyway because I needed the content so badly. It's frustrating when that happens because I know that, like, it's basically why those streams were so short. Because I needed to spend that time working on something I get paid for. Because, you know, the debt's rough, so I gotta spend that time on that. With a few people in Mountain Time. Yeah, I don't hear many people in Mountain Time. So you're 2 hours behind me. Okay. God, I'm getting hungry all of a sudden. All of a suddenly. One of my favorite typos of all time. All of a suddenly. We're about an hour and 10 minutes in this stream. I might actually need to end soon, because again, I really gotta work on this paid work. The Shoddycast video is gonna be good. I hope it makes a good amount of money, and I think it will. Because I think a lot of people are gonna watch it. That last video I did for Shoddycast is the second most viewed video they did in half a year. So that was starting with a bang. They were very impressed with how well it did. It blew everybody's expectations, including my own, out of the water. I thought it'd get like 150,000 views. I think it got almost 400,000. It was pretty crazy. Spend more time editing your videos, because there's a lot of points in your videos where I'm like, I don't really feel like watching this. Try to flare it up a bit, or cut out boring parts if you don't have time to edit your videos. I'm continuing another comment probably. Wouldn't mind less videos as long as their quality is great. I still want to do... Here's the thing, is I do a locally recorded video every single day, and then I also upload the streaming videos. I could potentially edit them more depending on what the videos they are. I could potentially do that. When I heavily edit the videos, I am elongating the time I spend on editing them by hours. That takes up a lot of my free time. But I know you guys like the editing gigs, and I do them very rarely. They are much more common in some playthroughs than they are others. An example, the Resident Evil 4 Let's Play. Unhandy, did you see that one? And if so, is that more in line with what you like? Because I edited that one more heavily. I didn't cut out parts that I considered boring. I more of spruced things up. Unless it was backtracking. Then I made a gag out of it and sped it up a lot. But I did a lot of editing gags in that one. I was quite proud of how that came out. Who could forget about Andorra? Yeah, that was a gag from the first episode of the Resident Evil 4 Let's Play. I'm very happy with that Let's Play. I really enjoyed that one. And I had a lot of fun with the edits in that. When did you post those videos? A year ago. Almost exactly a year ago. That Let's Play was a lot of fun. The Resident Evil 4 one was a lot of... or 5 one was a lot of fun as well. 6 was pretty fun, although it was also a terrible game. Indian People's Republic. Oh, Axis. Wow, that is a smug motherfucker. Look at that guy. It looks like there's a... oh, and he's going Smiling Buddha. That's nuclear technology. Yeah, wow. They've got issues in India. And they're with the Axis. Oh my god. Alright. Well, Japan's got an ally in the East, but I don't think that Indian People's Republic is gonna last long. Yeah, no, they're... oh, they capitulated fucking instantly. They're gone already. More editing jokes would be fun. I do like the editing jokes. I just often can't think of good ideas for it, and I don't want to, like, half-ass them. Because I full-ass everything. Want more Pokemon Platinum? I want more Pokemon Platinum, too. I'd like to bring that back soon. You like longer, uncut videos, but editing gigs is something... see, that's my happy medium, I think. I think I watched a few of those. It was with Brandon, right? No, Resident Evil 4 was a solo Let's Play. Resident Evil 5 and 6 were with Brandon. Yeah. 100% full ass. You like that? Yeah, that's what I said to, that's what I said to Josh of Shoddycast. He's the owner. He's the guy who makes the lore. When I was being interviewed when I was joining Shoddycast, we were talking about bringing back streaming and maybe making me the, like, the guy who runs the streams, because I've been streaming for so many years, like 7 years now. I have so much experience with it. And he really liked the idea, and he's like, but I want to, like, make sure it's not some half-assed thing. Like, you know, he's like, in the past, it's always been a half-assed occasional thing. I want it to be a regular, like, big thing with a schedule. And I said, don't worry, Josh, I full-ass everything. When I do projects, especially for other people's channels, I go hardcore. Like, on those theory videos that I edited for Geek Remix, I averaged 1 hour per minute of footage on editing, because I wanted to make sure it was of the utmost quality. You'd love to learn how to edit videos. Could you maybe teach me a lesson? It's... unhandy. I actually am in the process of making a video kind of on that, not as in-depth, but I am documenting the Shoddycast video I'm making right now, and I'm showing from beginning to end the entire process of from writing the script to editing the video of how I make a Shoddycast video. And I've been in the process of documenting it as I go. And hopefully I'll be able to promote it in the Shoddycast video itself. We'll see how Josh feels about that idea. I think he'll like it, but we'll see. He might have a good reason for not advertising that in the video itself. We'll see. So yeah, I'm kind of working on that. The editing on the penis vid for Geek Remix, yeah. I averaged an hour and a half per minute of editing that video, I believe. Because they literally gave me almost no notes other than the script, and they said, like, hey, at this point, like, they basically said, whenever we're talking about this thing in a game, here's our link to our playthrough of it, it's in this episode, and it's around this time code in case you need the footage. And they said, either that, this is your project, go crazy, do whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, I'm animating everything then. I like animating things, it's very time-consuming, but I feel like people can see the effort that goes into it. What if you did like a PTSP plays type series? Those are always really fun. We're working on that, actually. We really want to have Guy and Wadaik do the series over on the Task Controller Please YouTube channel. We want them to do the Saints Row games. At least Saints Row 2. Because they did that for a few streams and people really liked it. You really want to start with YouTube? YouTube and streaming soon. Got any tips? Oh, I have a lot of videos on like tips for stuff like that. Watch how I do what I do on my channel. I show you how to let's play from beginning to end outside of literally the video. And in fact, you get a sneak special episode by watching that, because I show you from beginning to end me editing a hour-long video, including making editing gags in it, and that video ended up never airing because I decided, wait a minute, I'm going to change that into a streaming series, so that video will never air. It is gone. But you watch me edit it in that, so you can watch that entire episode of Diablo 1 in full if you watch me teach you how I edit a Let's Play video. I even show you how to set up the program I record with and everything. PTP is still a thing? Yes, it's just on a hiatus as we're reworking it. It's likely not going to be a full-time stream anymore. It's going to be like a collaborative YouTube channel with occasional streaming. Capitulation. Our encryption is finally fully done. Good, because I don't want America just annihilating us on that. We really need better recon. I hate resorting to that. At the same time, better entrenchment. How much does this add to it again? 5 and plus 2. That's actually substantial. An extra pair of eyes. An extra pair of eyes. Like, extra pair of eyes for what? Like, looking at videos ahead of time? I don't really need that right now. I've got enough people to bounce ideas off of. I should probably just make field hospitals better. And we need to add that to our divisions. There's a reason I always put casual stream in the titles of a lot of these when it goes up on YouTube. It's supposed to be a conversation more than anything. We're having fun. Ooh, that put us at a huge loss of equipment. You know what? We need it. It's too important. We're putting it in the division. And we're actually gonna... Do we want to drop that down? Maybe. I don't know. That was a great stream? Sorry, which one was a great stream? Okay, you're along that border. I need to actually grab some more troops for that. So what I'm gonna do... Alright, and we need 6 more. There we go. There we go, we got 24 in there. There we go. We're spreading out 24 people along the western border. They're not all great, but it's something. We have the hurricane, which I think we already researched anyway. Non-aggression with India, why not? I could use the support equipment. I'm cool with that. We're low on that. How's the Minecraft server doing, guys? It's one of those things where I really need to promote the Minecraft server more. I try to bring it up in my vlogs more often now, when I bring up the rewards for Patreon. I also want to start streaming on it to get people playing it more often. You're half done with a huge project? If you're doing a huge project, then maybe when you finish it, let me know. And I can use that as a centerpiece for bringing it back, like stream it, and show off everything people have been working on to get people back into it. And I can use your big project as a centerpiece. That'd be a good idea. Typically don't have much to do. As far as I might be able to fix my Friday 30th. Well, I hope you're able to fix it. I know that you've been having issues with that. PTB is misleading since you never actually passed a controller to another person. Well, now that we have Parsec, now that Parsec exists, PTB has all new opportunities of crazy things it can do. Sorry, do you not have an order? You're part of this, though. So, there's your fucking order. There you go. Oh yeah, a lot of people will probably count as rookies now, don't they? Yeah. They need a little bit of training because they're green. And that's a pretty bad detriment, being green. 25% less effective in a fight. Wouldn't take long to get them past that point. it would just break some equipment, which sucks, but what are you gonna do? Tank production too low? Yeah, tank production too low. Ooh, we need to go scraping the barrel. Let's not resort to that yet. Adult serve? No. Service by requirement? God, I hate resorting to that. We need it, though. We gotta keep the divisions training. Oh, that didn't get us much extra. Shit. Wolf has a huge project going as well. Awesome. Metalizer says, I don't know what to do in Minecraft because my imagination is next to non-existent. I'm the exact same way. I have more fun watching what other people make than making something myself because, like, I just don't know where to start. I'm not a very good builder in that game, and I don't have the time to learn, honestly. I like the game. I'm just not a good builder. Hellenistic Republic? Democratic. Okay. Scraping the barrel! Yeah, we totally need that right now. Because I really want my industry to go to absolute shit. The unfortunate thing is the higher our conscription, the slower our industry is, including building. And we are still chipping away at that nuclear reactor. Heard of a game called Dokapon Kingdom? Yes. I know that What a Geek really wants us to play it on Parsec when Dolphin starts working with Parsec. The only restriction of Parsec right now that I've run into is, for whatever reason, it doesn't work with Mandy's computer. We don't know why. Hopefully a patch will fix it, but even the developers are stumped on what the problem could be. They think it could be Comcast at this point. And, Dolphin, for whatever reason, doesn't have proper controller support with Parsec. They're still trying to look into what is causing that, and they're trying to fix it. But the developers of Parsec are really nice. I've talked with them quite a bit. They're great guys. Yeah, you know, the problem with Sex is fucking amazing. I know, Parsec is amazing, right? Have any of you guys gone out and used Parsec? Free program. As long as you have controllers, you can use Parsec. It's a screen sharing and, like, controls sharing program that lets you play local multiplayer games online. I've done it with, like, WWE 2K17, and it has less delay than the actual online of the game. I played Sonic Mania online with it. I've played, like, PlayStation 2 emulator games online with it. That's how I did Mario Party 2 and 3 with it, was N64 emulator with Parsec. It's incredible. It is just incredible. Not the wrestler. Although the wrestler Just Incredible is quite good. You know, friends to play on Parsec? Sure, there's some people in the community who'd love to play it with you. As long as the host has really good internet, that's all you need. I bet you I could get away with streaming while using Parsec at the same time. I got 50 upload, 50 download. I think I'd be just fine. Because I only stream at like 5 megabit or something at the moment. Used to do 9, but I switched down to like 5 and no one's noticed a difference. And, what was it? And then for the Parsec, I do like 20 upload on it or something to give people really good quality. So I would have more than half my upload left. So I'm not really concerned about that. And CPU usage on Parsec is way lower than you would expect. Okay, so we got the whole border defended now at least, and we have forts on our end of the border. Do they have forts on their end? No, it doesn't look like they've been building forts. Any down here, maybe? Detroit? No. No, they haven't built forts on their side of the border. I've built them on mine, though. What I could do, even, is just declare war, mass up forts on my side of the border, and let them just waste their troops on me. In fact, that's probably the smartest idea. Just have them fucking die against my wall. But I don't have a strong enough industry to pull it off. I wouldn't be able to build the forts in time. It's like the least eventful game ever. I love it. Not the game in general. The game in general is eventful. I mean, my game. This match of it. Yeah, I'm basically just idling a lot. And speaking of idling, I think it's actually time to end the stream now, because I've got to eat, and I've got to really work on some other things. So, I'm going to go get working on that Shoddycast video again. I got a lot of stuff to do tonight, and plus, I got to go on media silence, starting in like half an hour. Because the pay-per-view is going to start Hell in a Cell, and I don't want to see any spoilers for it, because I'm watching it with Brandon and Fatima tomorrow, and we got to make sure that we don't get spoiled. So I am going to go work on that Shoddycast video some more. I think you guys are really going to like it. It's another Fallout 4 one. Do you think you'd stream Dokapon Kingdom for the show? If it starts working with Dolphin, then I will give it a try because it looks like fun, but I know almost nothing about the game. I'm going to go work on other things. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you so much for supporting on TAD. I saw a lot of you guys were using TAD, especially near the start. I can't wait for Tuesday when I can see how much is generated from it, see if we meet higher goals so I can start spending some more time streaming for you guys. And, hey, $100 a week on TAD through just you watching your advertisements for free. And we can bring Flash Trash back. And also, can't wait for the Tuesday after that, because the Tuesday after that, WWE 2K18 comes out on PC, and I stream on Tuesdays. Totally streaming it that day. That'll be fun. Launch day for PC, playing 2K18. It's going to be good, especially because the PC version of those games are always 60 frames per second rather than 30. Plays a lot better that way. So, thank you everybody for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.